What's up everybody, this is Danny. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Nokia Lumia 2520 tablet. Now Nokia is more known for their handsets and mobile phones, but this is their first attempt at a Windows tablet. Now this thing is running Windows RT, so this is not a full-fledged Windows tablet, but it brings over all the amazing build quality and the Nokia software to go along with it. So how good is this tablet? Let's find out in the full review. The first thing you're going to notice on the 2520 is its gorgeous 10.1 inch display, and it's comparable to something like the iPad Air, which is a class-leading product. On the back is a familiar polycarbonate finish that we've seen on other Lumia devices, and this is available on AT&T running on their 4G LTE network. So let's do a quick hardware tour. On the back you will see this 6.7 megapixel Carl Zeiss lens, and we'll go over the image quality later on. On the bottom of the display, holding it in landscape mode, you will see a Windows button there, which is capacitive, but it does not light up. You would expect it to, but it does not. And there's also a docking port there for the keyboard accessory. Flanking that Windows button are two stereo speakers that are front-facing, which I really like. Now, they're not the loudest speakers I've ever heard, and they do sound a little bit tinny, but that front orientation definitely gave it a better experience. Up top, you see a 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera with the appropriate sensors, and there's also a microphone next to it. On the side, you see a 3.5mm headphone jack along with the AC power port. You don't see those much in tablets, but man, it really made a difference when charging the tablet. It charged it pretty quick. Adjacent to that, you will see the SIM card slot along with the micro SD card expansion, and up top, you will see the power button and the volume rockers. It was a little bit odd having those up at the top though. Then on the opposite side, you will see a micro HDMI and USB 3 port. The device feels great in the hand, but this build quality does give it a 615 gram weight, so you will feel the weight in this device when you pick it up. Due to its 1080p resolution and aspect ratio, it can be a little funny using it in the portrait mode, which I'll show you later on in this video. Powering on this device, you will notice how beautiful this IPS display is, and it has a 650 nit brightness, so you'll be able to see it easier in the sunlight. It's definitely easier to see in direct sunlight than the iPad Air's display, but this display is also pretty glossy. But you will notice exactly how bright this is when you compare it to another tablet that you may have in the house. Although this tablet does come with the productivity software, Office, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and a full version of the IE browser, you cannot add legacy apps. So you can't just download stuff and install it like you would with the regular PC. You will have to use the Windows Marketplace, which we will discuss a little bit further into detail later on. But I found that the UI was pretty easy to navigate. If you swipe to the right, you'll get to your settings here, and I really like how you can personalize with just a couple of taps. And when you go into this personalized setting, you can change your background, you can change your accent colors, and it was pretty easy for me to do. And this is available with 4G LTE connectivity from AT&T and is also available on Verizon in the US. I have amazing AT&T 4G LTE connectivity in my area, and I found the speeds to be extremely fast. So if you are a road warrior and take this on the road, as long as you have great coverage, I don't think you'll be disappointed at all in the connectivity in the Lumia 2520. Of course, there's built-in Wi-Fi, but I'm surprised to see no 802.11 AC. You're just stuck with A, B, G, and N, which is really not a problem because the iPad Air also does not come with this. If this is your first Windows tablet, I think there's going to be a slight learning curve. This is just coming from personal experience, for I don't use a whole lot of Windows tablets, but once I got used to it, I found it to be pretty intuitive. Like this multitasking here, it's built right into the OS, so just sliding your finger right over, it actually brings you two panes here. So I think this is really good for productivity or for media consumption. I found myself using this quite often. Now, it's very natural for you to hold it in the landscape orientation with this tablet due to its aspect ratio, and it is a little bit heavy like I mentioned earlier, so you may get a little bit of fatigue if you hold this in your hand a long time. But the touchscreen is extremely responsive and it's pretty snappy overall. But the one thing I think people might find a little funny is holding it in the portrait orientation. and some people might find it too tall for them, but I actually did not mind this extra space on here, especially when I was reading my Twitter timeline or reading something or catching up on an article. I didn't mind it. So if you're coming from something like an iPad, then you might find this a little awkward, but if you're coming from something like a Nexus 10, then I don't think it'll be that bad of a transition whatsoever. But if you end up getting fatigued, you can always lay it flat on a table, and it doesn't have any kind of rock or anything on there where it moves funny. It actually works very well on a table, and Internet Explorer performs fantastic on this device. It's very, very responsive because this thing is being powered by the Snapdragon 800 processor with 2 GB of RAM and 32 GB of internal storage. So the actual pinch to zoom and the responsiveness of the screen is very good. So if internet browsing is your thing, then I don't think you'll be disappointed at all with this tablet. But this device is not perfect when it comes to performance because it is running on mobile architecture. This is not like something like the Surface Pro, which is twice the price, by the way, and it does run on Intel chips and is much more powerful. But for the most part, it does run fantastic, but there are some hangups here and there, and it does lag, especially in multitasking mode when you've been running it a while. And unfortunately, I have experienced a few random reboots and freezes, but for the most part, it's been a very solid, consistent experience, so hopefully they can make a few updates to this to make this thing hum even more than it does right now. What differentiates this tablet though is the Nokia software that comes with it, like Nokia Storyteller, the Video Director, the Maps, and the different software that comes with this you will not find on the other Windows tablets. Speaking of software, let's talk about the store real quick, and this is where you're going to get all of your apps that you're going to download and install on your tablet. And now the store has all your necessary stuff, like your YouTubes and your Skype and your Twitter and your Facebook, Netflix, Hulu Plus. I mean, most of the media consumption stuff you will find on here, and it's getting a lot better. But when it comes to games and app selection and tablet optimized stuff that you may find on other platforms, such as Android and especially iOS, then you may be a little disappointed when you buy this tablet. Of course, if you are a big Xbox gamer, then you will find your account on here as well, just like you do on the Windows Phone 8 platform, and you can buy games that will help build up your achievements. Fortunately, game selection has been getting a little bit better, and it's nowhere near the level of iOS or Android at this moment, but big players like Gameloft have been porting over their games, and it's great because this is running the Snapdragon 800 processor along with the latest Adreno graphics, so games run silky smooth on the Lumia 2520. This is where I feel like the shape and the screen size of the Lumia 2520 have an advantage when you're playing games because the grip in the hand is much more comfortable when you're playing games like Riptide 2. And the front-facing speakers here, they're also very nice because you're not getting them blocked by your hands. So let me let you listen to the speakers on the Lumia 2520 along with some gameplay. Nice and smooth frame rates here, and the speakers aren't the best. They're a little tinny, they're pretty loud, and they don't have that nice bassy experience that you would expect, but it's still a great design. While there is no official YouTube app yet, there are third-party ones like Hyper and MetroTube to help you catch up with your favorite tech videos. So I enjoyed watching YouTube on this great immersive screen. Now, I know many of you are probably wondering, how is the camera on this tablet? Since Nokia is really known for their great camera sensors and their great software, how does this tablet stack up? To be honest, it's just really average. The actual camera software itself is very simplistic, as you can see here, and I was expecting that ring that you would see on Nokia camera app, but it's not there. It's actually on the opposite side, so your focus and all of that stuff is actually adjustable, but it's on the opposite side. It's really nice and refreshing to see this level of manual control on an actual tablet. But in the end, the 1080p video and the images themselves, they're just average. And when you get into a darker condition, then you do get pretty grainy videos, and there's not a whole lot of detail in these pictures. But at the same time, this is a tablet. You should not be running around taking pictures with your tablet anyway. But if you decide to, then just know that the actual quality of this camera is mediocre. There is a cool keyboard accessory I wish I was able to test out, but I wasn't able to within the time that I had for this AT&T review unit. But Word, PowerPoint, Excel, they all work great on this tablet, and actually the typing experience is fantastic. Even if you have this tablet just laid on the table, I found typing to be pretty easy, and the Windows keyboard is very nice to use. But overall, if you're gonna spend $400 or $500 on a tablet, there are a lot of options out there right now. So I guess if you're looking at specifically a Windows tablet, then this and the Surface are your only choice, and they are great choices at that. But if you are looking at other platforms, then I really suggest you look at the iPad, the Nexus 7, Nexus 10, and some other tablets just to see what the differences are. And I will have a video of this versus the iPad Air, so make sure you check out my channel for that. This tablet is not perfect, but when you're looking at the Windows platform, the Nokia ecosystem is going to give you more than you would on some of the other Windows tablets out there. Their software has a lot of advantages and have a lot of functionality that some of the other tablets do not. This is very similar to what the Windows phones are like on the Nokia side compared to something like a Samsung or an HTC Windows phone. For Nokia's first attempt at a tablet, they did an amazing job. They brought a fantastic 10.1-inch 1080p IPS display with great viewing angles and good color replication, and it also made a battery that makes the tablet last for days and days, and the standby time is great. So if you're worried about battery life, don't be. The battery life on the 2520 is fantastic. Most people use their tablets for media consumption, and I think that this tablet does a great job on that. One of the disadvantages maybe is because of this finish on the outside. It does get scratched fairly easily, and you can see some micro scratches on there, and it collects fingerprints like crazy, including that screen. The screen is a fingerprint magnet. I'd say if you're in the market for a Windows tablet, then I don't think you'll be disappointed in this. But if you're looking for a tablet and you're platform agnostic, then I would go ahead and take a look at the iPad and some of the other Android tablets out there to see what you like best. Alright, well that does it for me with the review of the 2520 tablet from Nokia, and let me know what you think about this review. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and make sure you follow me on Twitter at SuperScientific. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.